I hate to say this, but some parents don't raise you with love. They raise you with guilt. They use guilt as a leash to keep you obedient even after you've grown. It's in the way they make you feel guilty for following your dreams, for setting boundaries, and for simply living your life. Today, we are exposing how parents use guilt as a weapon and how it silently steals your freedom, your choices, and even your identity. Let's be real, parents have power. They shape the way we see the world, and most importantly, how we see ourselves. But when that power is built on guilt and not guidance, that's not parenting, it's control. And it sounds like, after all I've done for you, this is how you repay me. Or, I gave up my whole life for you and you can't even do this one thing. I'm sure most of you are already familiar with these lines. At first, it sounds like love, it sounds like sacrifice, but in real sense, it's emotional debt being collected. By the end of this video, you see exactly how to identify it and finally break free. Now, let's begin with the guilt trip tactics. There are actually 4 main ways in which your parents will use in guilt tripping you. The first way is by conditional love. They make you feel like their love for you is a reward and is not given freely. For example, they might want you to do something and you know deep down that's not what you want to do. But the moment they sense you are starting to rebel, they come up with this line of, after everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me. This statement alone makes you feel guilty. It makes you feel like you owe them something just because they are taking care of you. Now, the second guilt trip tactics is the martyrdom and sacrifice game. Now, this tactic is so common. If your parents always reminding you of the sacrifices they had to go through just to get you to where you are or just because of you. And this constant reminder also translates to, you owe them your life. You always hear things like, I give up my dreams because of you. And after hearing this, it will make you feel like you have to make them happy because they gave up so much just because of you. That is guilt tripping in action. Another way your parents will guilt trip you is by bringing up the sad face move. You might actually do something wrong and instead of them yelling, they just sigh and really look disappointed, like you broke their heart. This makes you feel like a bad child even if it's just a little mistake you did, and suddenly their emotions become your responsibility. The last guilt trip tactic is they compare you with other kids. Some of you must have found yourself in situations where your parents compare you to your cousins or maybe your neighbor's children. They will constantly say things like, why can't you be like your cousin A who does this? Why can't you be like your neighbor's daughter B who does that? And hearing this often makes you feel guilty for not being good enough, even though every child is different. Now, you may think once you move out of your parents' house, you can break free from this guilt-based parenting. But that's not the case. It follows you into your adulthood and it causes a hidden damage. You become a chronic people pleaser. You find it hard to say no because setting boundaries feel like betrayal. You feel like you are responsible for everyone else's happiness, and the worst of all, you don't even know what you want because your whole life has been about keeping other people satisfied. That's not good parenting. That's psychological conditioning. So a cousin of mine had been job hunting for about 6 months. And one day, she finally got a job out of town. I was with her when the news came in. She was so excited. We both were, considering how she struggled for the past 6 months. In as much as she was excited, she was nervous because that would be her first time moving out of town and away from her loved ones. But she was ready because the job was all she really wanted at that point. So later that evening, we both decided to drive to her mom's place so she could give her mom the good news. After telling her, this was what her mom had to say. So you are just going to leave me after everything I've done for you? I thought family came first. In that moment, I turned and looked at my cousin and I saw her joy turn to shame. It was no longer about her career. It was about the guilt her mom was putting on her, and that's how guilt works. It takes away every right of decision making you have and make you feel like choosing yourself is a crime. Now, the truth most parents won't admit is parents who control their children using guilt do it because it actually works. They are afraid of losing their power over you as you grow up. They know when you were a kid, they used to make all the rules, and as you grow up, you start making your own choices, and that can feel scary to them. They don't know how to communicate without manipulation. Some parents never learned how to talk about feelings in a healthy way. It's not that they are evil, they just never learned a better way of speaking their truth. Sometimes some parents feel like their children don't listen to them, so they use guilt as a shortcut to get their attention. Or they confuse control with love because that's what they were taught. If their own parents guilt tripped them while they were growing up, that's the only language of parenting they know. The thing is, guilt is not love, it's control. And if their love feels like a contract you can never repay, then it's not love, it's control. So this is how you break the guilt trip cycle. The first thing you do is you recognize the pattern. When you hear guilt tripping, you stop, you pause, You remind yourself this is about control and not love. The second thing you do is you separate their feelings from your responsibility. Parents can be sad, angry, or disappointed, and that's okay, but their feelings is theirs to carry and not yours. You are not responsible for fixing their emotions. The next thing is you set boundaries, even if it feels wrong at first. Saying no or choosing yourself might feel selfish. That's because guilt trained you to think independence equals betrayal. But the truth is, boundaries are healthy. You can love your parents and still say no. And the last thing to do is to reclaim your identity. Now ask yourself, what do you want? What makes you proud? Not your mom, not your dad. You, because you are not just their child, you are your own person. Gratitude is healthy, respect is healthy, but you constantly living like you are paying a debt for your parents' sacrifice is not. They choose to bring you into this world, so you don't owe them your freedom, your mental health, or your identity. Their love for you should feel like support and not you living in bondage. And if you grew up with parents who use guilt as a form of control, remember, you are not ungrateful for choosing yourself. You are not selfish for setting boundaries, and you are not a bad child for refusing to live by emotional blackmail. Guilt was a cage your parents built, but you see freedom, that's you choosing not to live in that cage. So guys, we've come to the end of this video, and if anything I said hit home, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And also, I'll be dying to hear your thoughts, opinions, and experiences in the comment section. And please don't forget to subscribe, because here we break down the power dynamics no one else talks about. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.